environmental justice. Corpus Christi residents, Beats, Lamont, and Mark, are going to talk about how folks can engage with environmental justice in the Coastal Bend region, including what it is, right, and where we can contribute. They'll also provide space for folks to better understand Corpus Christi's historically Black neighborhood, Hillcrest, and their fight against environmental racism. So please, again, silently applause for Beats, Lamont, and Mark. Thank y'all.
Hello, everybody. My name is Beatriz. I also go by Beats. I'm the water organizer for Texas Campaign for the Environment. So thank you so much for making the time. Can everybody hear me? I'm a little soft-spoken, so all right, great. Thank you. All right, so do y'all want to share a little bit more about yourself before we get started?
My name is Lamont Taylor, and I am an advocate, vice president in the Hillcrest Residents Association.
My name is Mr. I'm born and raised in Corpus. I'm part of Corpus Christi social media.
All right, so we have you for an hour and 30 minutes. So we have so first things first. Does anybody want to share their own definition of environmental justice? There's a lot of different definitions out there, including the government's. But does anybody want to take a guess or share some insight on how they define it themselves? So, environmental justice is defined very differently by different people, including the government. They call us radicals, but all we really want is clean air and clean water. Do folks feel that way? Yeah. So that is what justice, how it can be defined. We want to live in a place where we can count on our livelihood, right? So the definition that's online that seems to kind of encapsulate everything, I'll just read it out loud. The right to safe, healthy, productive, and sustainable environment for all, where environment is considered in its totality, including ecological, physical, social, political, aesthetic, and economic environments. This part I really appreciated. This term acknowledges environmental injustice as the past and present state of affairs. So, in its definition, it's assuming, right, that there is some course correction that needs to be done. So, how is it enforced? Is anybody familiar with the agencies that do any of this enforcement?
Like the EPA?
Like the EPA?
What about the PCEQ?
Yeah. Anybody else familiar? Right. So there are laws like in Texas, the Texas Clean Water Act, and the EPA enforces the Clean Water Act on the national level, as well as the Clean Air Act and the Safe Drinking Water Act. Do y'all remember the water ban? Yeah. When we couldn't use our water? Yeah. So the city got sued by the EPA for that, under the Safe Drinking Water Act. So y'all are familiar kind of the mechanisms in place. I guess let's just say they haven't been great about helping frontline communities achieve justice, right? Which brings us to our next line of defense. So here on the local level, we have what I just called an ecosystem. There are different organizations that have been partaking in the fight for environmental justice in the Coastal Bend. So I wanted to ask folks who are in the room to please stand up. I'll name the organizations, and if you represent the organization here today, please stand up. So for the greater good. These two folks are with For the Greater Good? Yeah. Very cool. Is anybody here with Ingleside on the Bay? Coastal Watch Association? Anybody here with Chispa? Ties to la Tierra? Heard from D earlier. Anybody else?
Sorry, right here.
Hey.
What happened?
I'm just calling everybody out.
Oh yeah, cool.
Anybody here from the Sierra Club? Over there, Jim, in the back. Very cool. Oh, Jason Hale over here. Wolf Reach Institute. Climate Summit? What about Texas Rising? Maybe like Texas Rising? What else are we missing? Our Hillcrest Residents Association? Are we missing any groups? And I know DSA isn't a single-ish organization, but they've obviously been playing a big role in a lot of this. Nobody else? Okay. So there are different nonprofits as well as grassroots groups doing this work. Not everybody is paid, but some of us are. And I guess I just wanted to highlight that we are essentially funded in different ways to fill the gaps that the government can't fill on their own. So, and I'm referring to folks who have nonprofit status and get some resources to get this work done. But not everybody has those resources, right? And so I just wanted to highlight that our ecosystem is full of, it's pretty much a mix of that. And so we have folks who are doing this on their free time, who are giving up, hours of their own time to attend meetings, give public comment, things like that. And there's also folks who are, that are like myself, full-time, who have a little bit more leisure around strategy and long-term planning. I think that's what the resources will help us achieve. And so there's a big difference, and it's a really important kind of dynamic to navigate, because it's community building, right? And there's different layers that complicate things. Any questions about that dynamic? I always get questions about, different groups, how they align. So I'm gonna hand it off to Lamont. He's going to go through the Hillcrest Residents Association history.
Good morning. Again, my name is Lamont Taylor, and I used to say my tagline was, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. That was a long time ago. Before I found out that I needed to advocate for people, we the people. Hillcrest Residents Association has a deep history. I can take you back, telling Richards last night that I could go back to when I first got in 56, but we're going to go that far back. However, the reason why Hillcrest is Hillcrest is because of back in back in when I came out of grad school, a long time ago before the Civil War, there was Census Tracts 4 and 5 that makes up being an urban planner. That's my background, being my background, knowing that those two census tracts was where African Americans were designated. So as we were relegated to that particular area of town, which is over by Washington Coles, Coles High School. How many from Corpus Christi before I go? Okay, great. So you know what Washington Coles is. Coles High School is right now, right? That's over in Census Tract 4. Across 4th Avenue is Census Tract 5. So that's where African Americans and Hispanics were getting along forever in those particular areas. That's what Old Baby Cemetery is. That's what the New Baby Cemetery is. That's what Corpus Christi history is. That's the history of Corpus Christi. It's founded in those two census tracts. And then they came up Ocean Drive or Nispon Hospital, et cetera, but we were not allowed to live over in those neighborhoods, all right? We were not allowed, again, to live over in those neighborhoods. So, along came Texas economy started booming as far as oil and gas is concerned. Now, getting to the point here. Oil and gas started booming in the state of Texas in Corpus Christi along what now is called Refinery Road. All right, Refinery Road is over in that particular area of Washington Coast, Hillcrest. So when I was coming up as a boy, there were tanks farms used to be all around that particular area. Some of y'all remember those tanks. had in Corpus Christi along that area. They had barbed wire fence was there, and the tanks were inside those tanks. And the projects where we were living in the project in that area. So this is because it's coming to Hillcrest. Okay, we were staying in the projects along the tanks, and I could tell people that I could throw a rock and hit the tank, and I didn't have a good arm. I wasn't a baseball player, but that's how close the tanks were from the places where I lived. So, as growing up as a kid, segregation was there. Finally, the city of Corpus Christi had offered, and the Port of Corpus Christi and Southwest Refinery at that particular time that was owned by people out of Houston, they were beginning to grow that area. And so they, the city fathers, allowed those companies to start proliferating in that particular area. They knew that they were bringing carcinogens and all that stuff into the area. So they bought out the old country club, which was on the Second Heights in Oak Park, and they put them over on the south side where the country club is right now. So we came over to Hillcrest in that area. Unbeknownst to us that they were proliferation of all companies, and now you have over there were Asarco and all those individual companies that were making up Refinery Road. Now you have modern day Flint Hills, you have Valero, you have Citco, you have, you name them, they're over there, all right? But we were not allowed to leave those particular areas until the Civil Rights Act, quote unquote, of '64, when we got housing, so we could get out of the projects and go into housing. But we still were segregated in the city of Corpus Christi because we could not buy a house in this area or over in the Del Mar area over anywhere else. So in essence, not only we were segregated, but Hispanics were segregated as well in certain parts of the city of Corpus Christi, in the low-income housing projects that were in this particular area. Fast forward, all that time, they were building carcinogens and building up the refineries, but we were still there. So we felt that we had decent housing, right? It was a nice neighborhood. However, they didn't tell us that the air was polluted. They were killing us. They left out and left us there, all right? We didn't get an opportunity to move out until, I would tell you that when I started back in 1976, came back to Corpus Christi in grad school, there were still areas in the city where you had warranty deeds where African Americans could not live in neighborhoods in 1970, 71, 70, when I was here. So getting back to HRA, Hillcrest Residents Association, we found out that the city of Corpus Christi at that particular time, 2006, had to build a wastewater treatment plant. So transitioning into Title VI, how Hillcrest Residents Association came about. Unbeknownst to us that the quality of life was going down, health-wise, air-wise. We found out the city of Corpus Christi was developing a groundwater sea treatment plant. So that was our first Title VI complaint with EPA, as a matter of fact. So we came up with a settlement. They decided not to put the groundwater treatment plant inside of Hillcrest the first time they tried. Second Title VI came about in 2015 when they started the Harbor Bridge. The Harbor Bridge, they still, this is 25?
Yeah.
Jeez. They've been killing us for 10 years. They've been trying to kill us for 10 years. The third part of the apple was the desalinization plant, which we'll get into that later part of the program. But the city methodically has been targeting us in environmental racism. All right, that's environmental racism. When you take a group of people who are a race of people and you target them that is happening to citizens in Hillcrest, we the people. So we at HRA feel that we're ground zero in this fight against environmental justice. The city of Corpus Christi had provided the opportunity for us to file Title VI against them because they were discriminatory acts against the citizens of Hillcrest. The city of Corpus Christi picked on Hillcrest for several reasons that they did. And these are the ways that they did. Okay, first of all, they allowed the Port of Corpus Christi to trade land with the city so that they could do the things that the city felt that they needed. And then right across the street is what we call the port industries. The port industries pollute our air, right? They have carcinogens coming out of those tanks that I used to throw the rocks in. They are polluting right in the Hillcrest neighborhood. So what we've done, working with EPA and other agencies, is getting an opportunity to look at the air that they're polluting, also looking at the water, because what goes up comes down. They tell you that what are they burning off? And a whole lot of petrochemicals, a whole lot of percentages that fall back down. So all of the great orange pears, apple trees, tangerine trees that were over there in Hillcrest died out because of the pollutants that were coming down from those burning things that are coming out of the ground. So you have a proliferation of cancers that come out of the Hillcrest area, disproportionately than the rest of the city of Corpus Christi. So if you go, these are not my records, go to the health department records and you'll find out that, hey, those individuals in Refinery Road have a disproportion of health-related illnesses, anywhere from cancer to asthma, birth defects, you name it, it's over in that particular area. That's why they knew that those individuals that were living there, they could give them a new country club over there and give us those houses because death was knocking on our doorsteps.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes, you may.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how we can support?
Okay, the support that we need is we the people. We need you. Everyone, as someone said earlier, in community, there's a word in community called unity. So we must be a unified community in order to do the things that are hurting the oppressed in the city. Yes, people are being oppressed. Culture is being oppressed. People are being oppressed because they are proliferating profit over people. And it's on the fast right now. It's on steroids. And so therefore, we have to come together. We have to be focused, laser focused and coming together as people fighting these causes. Because as I've been reminded this month, what Martin Luther King said, that the arc is long, but it points to justice. Yes, it takes a long time, but it's going to point towards justice. And so we just need to stay in this fight collectively. Each of those organizations that were put up there, we need to come together and unify. And yes, we're going to have various things that we're going to focus on, but everyone needs air to breathe, clean air and clean water. Every one of us needs clean air and clean water. And so we cannot have it. We will not allow them to take away our clean air and clean water because these kids running around here, they're depending on us.
In Corpus Christi, this is the last standing historically Black neighborhood.
So I showed a picture of the ecosystem here, right? There are different organizations that take different approaches to fight the same projects. So I want to differentiate between Lamont's organization and, for example, For the Greater Good or Texas Campaign for the Environment. So the Hillcrest Residents Association is fully made up of residents from the Hillcrest neighborhood, and they're taking a legal strategy, which means it's going to take a lot of time, right? And so what role does organizing play? How can we help in that sense, since we have the organizing capacity to?
The role that you take is basically being abreast and aware of what is going on around this particular desalination. Yes, that's the largest fight, that particular fight. However, we the people can address city council, state government, make and educate our community, because once that bay goes, like in Corpus Christi, as you knew, will never be again. You will not see another dolphin come up and do its acrobatic tricks inside the bay. You will never see that again. Those kids will never see that again if they let this desalinization takes place in Corpus Christi Bay. That will not happen. So I think that the more aware that we, the people, are aware of things, the little things that are happening around us that will impact all of us if we do not say something about it, so everyone can do something regarding this particular issue.
I think a reality that these two groups of folks are struggling with, I think we have been for some time, because we don't have the political power to achieve what we really want right now, right? That's going to take a long time. I do want to have a conversation about an opportunity we have this year. Like I said, we don't have the political power to kill D-Cell right now, but that can be achieved. I think a lot of us in this room are committed for the long haul, so I definitely feel confident that it can be achieved. So what we're working with right now is potentially a split council on the Inner Harbor. So you heard a lot of folks on this side of the room say, I'm not against D-Cell, but I am against D-Cell in the Inner Harbor, right? And so there's two plans proposed for the Inner Harbor, which is the Inner Harbor Desalination Plant, which is the city's project, as well as Corpus Christi Polymers. Now, these two plants have kind of the most, at this point, the Inner Harbor is the furthest along of the projects. And Corpus Christi Polymers, my understanding is they've had two financiers pull out, but they are still trying to move forward with at least the abatements, which the county as well as Delmar granted. So the city is trying to strike a deal with them on water. So a lot of these solutions are being discussed. I know there's going to be a really important city council meeting this coming Tuesday. I suggest folks reach out to us. I'm going to show a QR code you can scan to join our WhatsApp group, because we are trying to coordinate a lot more power around the issues that we know we can push at council, right? So desalination is going to continue to be discussed. And we want folks knowledgeable enough on DSUP to go up there, right, and give public comment. All right, so there's 3 council members right now who's requested that an agenda item be placed on the next council agenda. And the item is basically requesting kind of a comprehensive explanation of where we're at on our water supply. And so D-Cell, along with all of the alternatives, are going to be thoroughly discussed, is what these 3 council members are requesting, including Sylvia over here. So we want folks, obviously, to have all of the information to make the soundest decision, right? So I support that. If folks also support that, please come to public comment and tell them yourselves. So these 4 guys have gone on record and like a Caller Times article during the elections. These folks have gone on record saying they are against Inner Harbor. Yes. I think the only ask I have is for y'all to support us, potentially even help us get public comments on Tuesday. I know there's a group going to at least try to bring attention to this workshop that these council members are asking for. But I do want to hand it off to Mark. He's going to elaborate on organizing as a youth around desalination. So I'm going to hand it off to him to introduce himself.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark. Excuse my voice, but it's actually a good thing because it's the first day talk, so I normally do. So just how I got into desalination, how I ended up here, I was kind of going to share a little bit about that, and maybe that can be a game planner to see how we can get people involved from a point of not really caring much or being involved in local organizing or environmental issues at all to being involved in maybe roping more people into it. So it was in like the fall of 2023, I saw like some headlines about it, read a couple articles about it, and it was TikToks from Isabel talking about the industry usage and that Paulette and some of the council members were going to DC to lobby for desalination, and just the reality of that, and then the Hillcrest part of it, the environmental part of it, the economic impact to residents and the water rates, everything was just like stacking up and realizing this is like really messed up. This is where the water rates, this is the bad, like this is a big deal. And it's not just about water, it's about corporate greed and like justice. So the first thing I went to was in Hillcrest, March and December of 2023, and just seeing people that I knew from the local music scene downtown. That's what encouraged me to be there and go from the first place. And their inclusiveness and just being there with people I knew was what got me going back and got me committed to it and being involved. So yeah, I found the community I was looking for, like a lot of people here through that. So it's been a really good thing. And then going to city council for the first time and seeing just the reality of the people that are representing us and making decisions that like I feel like I'm smarter than those people that are sitting up there, even though I've never been to a city council meeting. And the setup of those meetings just like designed for us. Like you see just how long they are. And I was like, this is like a 7-hour meeting. How am I supposed to know? Like, know what to watch. So one of the first things I did was like clip down the meeting and post it on YouTube to like make it more accessible because it's on like Tuesdays. Not a lot of people can go. A lot of times there's no one to give public comment about desalination. So city council and then events like the TCEQ hearing in April where there was like so many people and that was just like a time limit. All the times that you're in kind of despair about desal and worrying about things, but that was a moment of just community, everyone coming together, and it was just so awesome. And just like a payoff of really being involved. And I hope we have a lot more stuff like that. And two anecdotes I just wanted to share because it's just relevant to like my experience with it is talking to Peter Zanoni like budgeting concessions and him not having answers to like the basic questions about it. It was just like wow. And then also I had a meeting with Drew Molly and Esteban Ramos with Jason Hale and John Weber. And seeing Jason like just schooling them and they didn't have answers and Drew Molly literally not stepping out of the meeting for a phone call when he was late to the meeting, we scheduled the meeting and then he wasn't even in the meeting like the whole time. Literally. It was just crazy. And yeah, something we didn't cover is in the desal side is the water mismanagement cycle and just part of like the reality of how much that is the city. The cycle that gets us in the situation that we're in now in stage 3 drought is building a new water supply, selling away the water, and then running out of water. They stole away our drought protections. That's why we're in the situation we're in today. We were talking about that earlier. Desal is obviously the gateway to our industry. Jake talked about climate change and like if we don't do anything, it's not going to be good. Lamont was telling us he feels sorry for the youth because we're the ones that are going to see us through. And through spending more time at city council, BSA, just comparing the time that I spent on that versus like work or school, it was like, I care about this. This is something that's actually worth caring and spending time about. Something I wanted to share from Malcolm X was that change and progress will never be from the internal goodwill or internal activities from the government. Change is only going to come from them being afraid of their image or external actions and external pressures will come. And we need a lot of people to do that, I mean, more than we have now. We can't wait for that empathy. They've heard us like in city council meetings like over and over saying the same things. We have to demand it from them. So we can't tell them, so we have to demand it, what we want from them. And Isabel Exponents, the opposition, they're going to go all in for what they want. So we can't leave them in the middle. We have to start from being all in for what we want as well. Let's see. Something I think about in terms of youth technology, stuff like that. Whenever you hear the same old arguments about jobs, the economy, economic development, I'm like, we have supercomputers in our pockets. Like, we can research things. We can communicate with people. Technology. The next thing I was going to talk about, like I made videos. Social media is like a way that we can plant seeds and get more people involved. Reddit, Nextdoor, if people aren't on Nextdoor, there's a lot of people that talk about water issues, industry stuff. So just posting on there, even if it's just like a simple post, simple picture of a graphic you see that you're going to city council, we have to meet people where they are, and everyone's on their phones, so we have to use technology. The more people that are posting, the more people that are going to see it. And yeah, we have to get the youth involved because we're the ones that are going to see the implications of it. We're the ones that, the youth's not going to be enough, but we have to bring in, the youth is going to be the ones to bring in the masses, and that's how it's been in history. Yeah, just think out of the box in any ways you can. Just posting art, videos, flyers around town, talking to coworkers.